OKB. All right, looks like it's making its way back down to this 45 level. I think that's what it's gonna do. Yesterday closed bearish engulfing, so yeah, it looks like it's going to come down, maybe test this moving average as well. If it did pull up to this area, I'd probably, yeah, I don't think I would actually even short this. I mean, price is way above, not way above, but it is above this moving average. You can see pretty good bull structure here, like pretty much just straight up. So it's way too bullish to consider shorting, but looking for a position possibly at this $45 mark. It looks very significant. You can see this zone was heavily resisted and then broke and then held here, so do think it's going to touch that again. Trying to see some as far as longer term outlooks here. I mean, very bullish, so I'm looking for buys, like probably definitely in this area. If price rejects here, then I'd be shooting for at least the top of this zone, if not more. It's just tough to figure out. Like, I mean, the next area is way up here, but I mean, it's so far away. Like, that is what you would target, but you know, you can also see last week came into this area, completely rejected, heavily rejected actually. So there's a little bit of conflicting data here with OKB. So you know, on one hand, it's just pulling back down to this $45 level. You can see if we throw a fib on this, it's bang on right in this zone. So you know, you might get a good bounce at $45, and that might be ripe for a buy position. But you're going into, again, this major zone here. This is the weekly that was rejected. So I mean, you got a good buy at this zone here, but only really into this area and possibly, you know, lower. Because what can happen is, if this was the liquidity high previously, then they might make it might push back into this zone, but it'll push even lower. So maybe this will be like the new high kind of thing. If price comes back in here, like let's say it comes down, gets bought up, it might only come up to these levels here. So that is a possibility as well. So I don't know, it'll still probably be a good trade, but as far as the risk to reward, I mean, we'd have to really be you know, look to shrink this zone. So if price actually comes down and pushes this zone and then rejects, then you can get something like this, and you can actually tighten up your stop a little bit, because you can see how much price is pushed down once it does, and then you can kind of, if it makes a bunch of wicks, it creates its new liquidity zone, and then you kind of have a safety net. Because right now this one is just really big. Oh, right here, right, you got this whole zone. So like, let's say you're gonna buy at 45 bucks. If you kept your stops out of this zone, I mean, you're barely getting, like, you know, maybe a 3 risk to reward. So not terrible, but definitely not great. So just have to wait and see how this plays out. I mean, yesterday was pretty bearish, and then Sunday's candle here. So like the bears are definitely in place here. So is it going to push it lower and lower? You can see it's creating liquidity zones that are a little bit lower on each one. So yeah, looking to just this candle's even pretty bearish now, this 4-hour candle. So yeah, I do see this just continuing back down to about 45 bucks. It does move on average about $1.30, $1.40 a day, so could actually hit that today, or yeah, well, this candle, I guess, overnight here, and then into tomorrow could hit the $45 mark. So that is possible, so we'll keep that in mind. I'll check back on this maybe in a couple days and just see, because I do think it is a good buy. Like, I think the bull momentum and structure, all of this is here, so I do like that aspect. I just don't like this weekly rejection here. But I mean, it has made higher highs, it broke this area. There's actually an area of support here, that price, you know, you can see it broke below here and then rejected, but it made higher lows and then finally broke it and then held here. So even last week's candle that heavily rejected this zone, it was supported here right at the $45 level. So it's kind of I'm still definitely more lenient to the bull side to buying it, but I just don't like that it heavily rejected the zone so much. But it looks like there's bullish structure still into it, so definitely possible that it's still a good buy. Just gonna wait till 45 bucks and then look for some rejection in this area, and then just wait for some higher highs, higher lows on the lower time frames, like the 1 hour, the 30-minute, and then ideally price would cross over this 1 hour moving average and then be above it. As price comes down to here, this moving average catches up, then price cuts above this moving average and stays above it the whole time, and then that would signal a good buy entry. So that is OKB. Well, I will check in on this again in a couple days and keep you guys posted.